Okay, today I'm going to show you how to assemble a knitted Christmas cracker using my Christmas cracker pattern from the Yuletide collection. To assemble your cracker, you're going to need both halves of your knitted cracker body. This is what the pattern will instruct you to make. You will also need the center panel and then the two I-cord ties. You will also need two cardboard tubes. These are just standard toilet roll tubes. You can also use a paper towel roll and cut it in half, or you can just get some cardboard and make it into tubes yourself. You will also need some cracker snaps. This is if you want your cracker to actually like pop or snap when you pull it open. These are optional, but they just add a lot of fun because this bit in the middle will actually, it's sort of like a mini firework. It'll just pop as you open, which is really fun. You will also need snips or scissors, a darning or tapestry needle, and then I have a hole punch here, just a miniature hole punch. This is not necessary, it's just useful. You're going to be making holes around the edge of the cardboard tubes. You can use a scissors or a needle or something, but I have this mini hole punch, so I just thought I would use it. You might also need some extra yarn for darning, so I have the yarn there. And then not pictured, you'll also need tape or glue to attach the cracker snaps to the tubes. So now to get started, we are going to punch some holes around one end of each of our cardboard tubes. So I'm going to use my hole punch. You can use a needle or a pair of scissors, whichever you like. And I'm just going to start punching little holes. You don't want it too close to the edge because it'll tear, but you don't want it too far down either. So just leave a tiny bit of space there. And I'm going to go around, make sure these are evenly spaced, roughly. They don't have to be perfectly even. You just kind of want roughly the same distance between each punch. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm going to do the same on this tube. Okay, now we're done with the hole punch. So we have our two tubes, each with several holes punched around one edge. Okay, now we are going to take our cracker bodies and we are going to thread the I-cord ties through. So I'm going to take one of my I-cord ties, and I haven't woven in the ends yet because I'm going to use that end to thread my needle. And then where you have your these little eyelets that you created in the pattern, we are just going to go in one, out the next, in the next, out the next, and just weave the I-cord tie in that way. And just go around the whole cracker like that. And then we're going to repeat that on the next one. Okay, so now we have our I-cords. And then I'm going to weave in the ends on my I-cord, which I just do by sort of tucking them back through the I-cord like that. You're not really going to have to tie and untie these because the crackers are going to be open at the other end, so this doesn't have to be super strong. Okay, and then you can just take your scissors and trim those ends. Okay, Now you can just pull tight to cinch. We have this cute little picot edge here. This is all cinched, and then you can tie this into a little bow like that. Do that with the other side. Now I've woven in all the ends on the cracker body except for this last end here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my cardboard tubes and I'm going to take the end that doesn't have any holes and I'm going to put it in to the cracker, scooch it all the way down. And then I have this end here, so I'm going to thread my needle with that end. And I'm going to use the tail of the yarn to weave through these little holes that we've cut in the cardboard to basically attach the cracker to the cardboard tube. And the reason for that is because we are going to be taping the cracker snap to the inside of the tube. And when you pull it apart, you're kind of going to be pulling mostly on the knitted part. And so you want the knitted part to be attached to the cardboard tube because otherwise the knitted part will just slide off the cardboard tube, right? You want the whole cardboard tube to come apart from the other tube. And that's what's going to create that snap. So I'm going to go through a couple of times just to make sure it's really secure. And you can kind of come through on the other side. You can just come through. Make sure you're still on the green bit, on the main color bit. Don't go into the contrast bit because then you'll start to see you'll see the tail coming through. So I'll come through one stitch and then I'll go down into the stitch below it and then back through that hole in the cardboard tube like that. Now we're going to move on to the next. Come out and then come back in through the stitch either above or below it. That's how you're kind of going to hide the stitches. And I'm going to come up over the top of the cardboard tube and then back out into that same stitch. Just do it a couple of times to reinforce. And you might have to do it a few more times right here at this end point where the beginning of the round is, because that might just be a little iffy there. So you can kind of just sew that right up like that. Back down. Oops. Here we go. Okay. Move on to the next one. Make sure you're still in the green part. Part's a little bit tricky. There you go. And you're going to see, you're going to keep sort of just sewing around the edge like that. And just make sure you get it really good and attached. And just keep going around the whole circumference. And if you find you're running low on your tail, it's okay. Just grab more yarn and tie that on and keep going. You can always tuck your ends to the inside of the cracker so that they're not visible from the outside. So don't worry too much if you have sort of messy ends. Okay, so now we have tied both of our tubes to our cracker bodies. So you can see it's all attached in there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sew our center strap together. So we are just going to fold this into a little loop, seam it together using mattress stitch. So now we have our little center loop, and I'm just going to take one half of the cracker body and slip that sort of over the center loop. And for now, while we're assembling the cracker, you can kind of slide it more onto the body so it's a little out of the way. Because then what we're going to do now is we are going to take one of our cracker snaps, just need one. So you can buy these on Etsy or like Christmas decoration supply websites, things like that. They're just called cracker snaps, and they just have this little bit in the middle that is, going to create a little snap and pop. So we're going to take one end of our cracker snap and put it into our cardboard tube. So we want about half of this white part sticking out. And then we're going to take, I just have some packing tape. You can use glue, really whatever you like. This bit can be a little fiddly and tricky, so use whatever you find easiest. I'm going to stick that glue down in there, get tape rather. Make sure that we've only got about half of that white part sticking out. And then make sure that tape is really secure. You can use a couple pieces of tape if needed. I want it to be kind of straight. Okay, get that really secure in there. And now we're actually going to need the cracker fillings. So a traditional Christmas cracker has a few items in it, one of them being a paper crown. As you can see, instead of using a paper crown, I have, of course, knitted a crown. This paper crown pattern is also a part of my Yuletide collection, so you can get this pattern as well if you like, to stuff your own crackers with. And I also have a cute cat-sized version if you want to make a cracker for your pets. So we are just going to stick that right in here. They also usually come with a joke. So I have, of course, included a Christmas knitting themed joke, which is, why is the Christmas tree so bad at knitting? Because it keeps dropping its needles. So I'm going to pop that in there. And then there's also usually like a little toy or a little trinket or something. And so to stay on theme with the knitting, I have a couple of very cute stitch markers that a friend made for me. So I'm going to throw those in there too. And so now we have everything stuffed in our cracker. And then we take the other half of our cracker body, and now we're going to tape the cracker snap to the other half of the cracker body. So I'm going to pop the tape on the end of the snap. And then make sure when you go to, I'm actually going to flip this around because I want this on the other end. When you go to attach them, you want the bows facing the same way, right? So I'm gonna flip both bows down. We're gonna insert this cracker snap, and you can kind of tilt it this way, press it down, get a little more tape. This bit is very fiddly, but it's worth it, I promise. Really get that cracker snap secure in there. One more piece. Okay, and then our cracker is assembled and we can slide this center panel over that little opening there, close it up, kind of give it a cuter appearance. And there we go. There is our Christmas cracker all assembled and ready to crack. And to use the Christmas cracker, you have one person hold this end, one person hold this end, and then you're going to pull apart from each other. And then you will have snapped your cracker and you can get at the prizes inside.